Hello everybody, Interi back again with another video, and today's topic, guys, will be why I don't believe that Federer have a great chance to defeat Rafa Nadal in a potential semi-final on Friday. Because I have a feeling that Federer will defeat Stan Wawrinka. Of course, I'm not sure. Absolutely, I'm not sure. Stan Wawrinka has defeated Federer on clay before. Yeah, the advantage is for Federer, of course. It is 22-3 in the head-to-head for Federer in the head-to-head, but when Federer has lost to Stan Wawrinka, which has not been many times, it has been always on clay. Not always on clay, but the third loss that Federer has against Wawrinka, it has been always on the surface clay. So this is Stan Wawrinka's biggest chance to defeat Roger Federer. It is on this surface, because he has never managed to defeat Roger Federer in other surfaces. But I have to give my favorite to win the match tomorrow. It is Roger Federer. He has played really good tennis in Paris so far. Yeah, I know he has not had a murderous hard draw, but he has done his stuff. He has not lost. He has not dropped one single set, and Stan Wawrinka has had pretty tough road to the quarterfinals, especially the last match against Tsitsipas was not easy for Stan Wawrinka. So I have a feeling that Roger will get himself to that semi-final on Friday, and Rafa will of course be there. Nishikori will not stand a chance against Rafa Nadal. Come on, guys, it is 10-2 to Rafa Nadal as a head-to-head between Rafa and Nishikori, and Nishikori has never defeated Rafa Nadal on clay. They have faced each other on clay 4 times, and Nishikori has never defeated Rafa Nadal on clay, and nothing is telling me that he will defeat Rafa Nadal for the first time on clay tomorrow. And Nishikori has had a really brutal way to this quarterfinal. He has played 2 5-set matches already, I believe. One against Jerry, which he barely won, and one against Pierre, which he barely won as well. He should have won that match, to be quite honest. But Pierre, he has so much talent, this Frenchman guy, but he doesn't have the head. He doesn't have he doesn't have the consistency. He was serving for the match 5-3 in that 5th set, but he did a silly unforced errors, and Nishikori then went on to turn that around and win that battle 7-5 in the 5th set. So Nishikori is really happy to be in the quarterfinals to begin with. I didn't believe that Nishikori would go to the quarterfinals, to be quite honest, guys, but he has managed through. He has been fighting through his way to this quarterfinal, and he gets rewarded to face the greatest clay court player of all time, Rafa Nadal, but he will not stand a chance against him in that quarterfinal. Straight sets victory for Rafa Nadal. Anyway, this video is about why I don't believe that Roger Federer doesn't have any great chance of defeating Rafa Nadal in a potential semi-final. And Stan Wawrinka as well, if Stan comes through, which I don't believe that he will, but I'm not sure, of course. Guys, I've been talked about this before. What kind of way is the only ways to defeat Rafa Nadal on clay? In all surfaces, to be quite honest, but especially on clay, and especially in Paris in 5 sets. The first way is to hit the ball brutally hard, serve bombs, and take time away from Rafa Nadal. Because, to be quite honest, guys, Rafael Nadal, he doesn't come with surprises on the tennis court. His game is pretty straightforward. He hits a lot of blows against his opponents. He trades blows with his opponents. He doesn't want to make any kind of unforced errors, and you can see him when he does the unforced errors. He's so great competitive player that he becomes disappointed in his face. You can see that clearly in his face. So of course, he has a lot of weapons. His forehand is a huge weapon, guys. He can make a lot of winners with his forehand, even very back from the court. And his backhand is really, really solid. He doesn't make as many winners with his backhand like he does with his forehand, of course, but he doesn't do a lot of unforced errors with his backhand. So his backhand is very, very solid. He is deadly, deadly good from the in the defensive part of the game. He makes you to hit 5, 6, 7 extra balls to make a winner, especially on clay, which is the most which is clearly the slowest surface that we have in tennis. So, and to hit through Rafa Nadal on clay, you have to hit the ball so hard and make so little unforced errors. To have these two things combined, it's really, really hard in this surface, especially in 5 sets, because you have to do it in so long time, guys. In 3 sets, it's a little easier, and Dominic Thiem is clearly proof of that. He has defeated Rafa Nadal 4 times on clay, most times of all players after Novak Djokovic, of course, who has defeated Rafa 7 times. He has defeated all those 4 times that Dominic Thiem has defeated Rafa on clay. That he has defeated Rafa on clay, it has been in 3 sets. They have faced each other 3 times in French Open, and he has never taken 1 set from the great Spaniard. So clearly, to produce this kind of brutal tennis, hard and deep, and with little unforced errors, hit through the court in 5 sets is, of course, a bigger challenge. A challenge that not many players has done throughout the years. Rafa Nadal has played 115 clay court matches, the Davis Cup matches including, and he has only lost 2, guys. Only lost 2 in clay in 5 sets matches. And in French Open, he has won 19 matches and he has only lost 2. So clearly the task of beating Rafa Nadal in 5 sets on clay, it is the biggest challenge a tennis player can face, guys. It really, really is, guys. And to do that, like I said, the first way is to hit through the court with really, really brutal shots, both from both wings, both from the forehand and from the backhand, and to serve big for really, really long time, and to keep the unforced errors low. And Roger Federer doesn't have this kind of game style, guys. Roger Federer isn't Robin Söderling, guys. What Robin did in 2009. He doesn't have this kind of game style. Roger Federer, he hits the ball pretty hard. Yeah, he can do that. But he doesn't hit the ball as hard as Robin Söderling, guys. And that's why Roger Federer, he feels helpless when he faces Rafael Nadal on clay, especially in 5 sets. That's why in 5 meetings in Paris, Roger Federer has not even been close of beating Rafael Nadal. Because he cannot hit Rafael Nadal's tremendous defensive hard through and hit through Rafael Nadal. He cannot do that, guys. Not from the forehand, not from the backhand. And his serve is great. Yes, Roger's serve is great. But it is not. Roger doesn't have any Isner serve. Roger doesn't have any Karlovic serve. Even Isner, who isn't not even as near as good tennis player like Roger is, of course, he has pushed Rafa Nadal more in French Open than what Roger has. Why? Because Isner has that serve. Isner took Rafa Nadal to a 5th set in that 2011 French Open first round. Why? Because he has that huge serve and he has that huge forehand. He can penetrate so much speed on that forehand. And in that way, Isner took 2 sets from Rafa Nadal. 2 sets. Isner, who is not even near as good tennis player like Roger Federer is. Why? Because Roger Federer's game style doesn't suit against Rafa Nadal. Especially not on clay in 5 sets. Even actually in other surfaces, especially in US Open. I think a match between Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal in US Open, they have never faced each other there. I think Rafa would have beaten Roger Federer in US Open. I really do, guys, because US Open has been the US Open courts has been so they have been so slow. They are so slow nowadays, guys. They are not super fast, guys. Take the match in Australian Open 2017, guys, where Roger Federer actually defeated Rafa Nadal for the first time in Australian Open, because they have faced each other there four times, I believe. And Rafa had defeated him 3 times, and Roger defeated Nadal for the first time in Australian Open in 2017. And he barely did that, even though the surface is so fast there. So you can just imagine if Roger Federer has so much difficulty to defeat Rafa Nadal on his best surface, on his where he gets rewarded as most, in a fast surface like Melbourne is. Melbourne is, I've heard lately that Melbourne is maybe even faster than Wimbledon. I've heard that kind of talk throughout the years. And Roger Federer barely defeated Rafa Nadal. So you just can imagine a matchup between Rafa Nadal and Roger Federer on Friday, in a really, really slow surface like clay is, in 5 sets, where Roger doesn't get rewarded with his serve, where Roger doesn't have the game style like Robin Söderling have, when Robin did defeat Rafa Nadal in 2009. He cannot hit through the court, not on this surface, not on 5 sets. Because Roger doesn't hit the ball as hard as Robin did. Roger doesn't serve as great as Isner did in 2011. And Roger cannot challenge Rafa from the baseline as well. He cannot do like Novak Djokovic can do. That's why Novak Djokovic is Rafa's biggest threat in Paris. Novak Djokovic is Rafa's biggest threat in Paris. If Rafa loses in Paris, it will be against Djokovic and nobody else. That's why I really hope that Novak Djokovic comes through to that final, and I think he will do. The only player that can stop Novak Djokovic to not go to that French Open final on Sunday, it is Dominic Thiem, because Dominic Thiem is looking good as well. And I don't think Dominic Thiem can trouble Rafa Nadal in a penalty if Dominic Thiem goes to that French Open final. I don't think, even though Dominic Thiem has a game style that can trouble Nadal, he can hit he can hit really hard from the both wings, both from the forehand and from backhand. But he doesn't have the consistency. He will leak a lot of unforced errors. He will do that, especially not in 5 sets. Dominic Thiem knows how to defeat Rafa Nadal. Many players know. It is easier said than done to know how to do it, but it is much harder to really execute the game plan. It's easier to do what it's easier to know what to do, but it's much harder to execute the game plan in the real life. And Dominic Thiem, he has the shots, he has the speed, he has the power in both ground strokes, both forehand and backhand, and he has a good serve, powerful serve. Even though he doesn't hit many first serves in all the time, but he doesn't have the consistency to do it in 5 hours, guys. And that's why he has never taken 1 set from Rafa Nadal in French Open in 3 meetings. And that's why he has defeated Rafa Nadal 4 times in 3 sets matches on clay. That's why Novak Djokovic is much bigger threat to Rafa Nadal than what Dominic Thiem is. And Novak, if we get a blockbuster French Open final on Sunday between Rafa Nadal and Novak Djokovic, I am pretty confident that Rafa Nadal will be there. I am not 100% sure that Djokovic will be there. I am 85-90% sure that Djokovic will be there. The only player that I think can spoil this party is Dominic Thiem, who can take Novak Djokovic out in the semifinals. But I don't think that Dominic will do that, but I cannot be 100% sure, because Dominic Thiem has defeated Novak Djokovic before in French Open. But Djokovic is looking really strong and really confident. He's looking really hungry. He really wants to win his 4th straight Grand Slam title and do it for the 2nd time in his career. The first time, we all know that he did that in 2016, and and he has raised up his level, guys, in the Grand Slams. He's looking more like he did in Australian Open. Maybe even more impressed, because in Australian Open he dropped set against Shapovalov and against Medvedev. So far he has not even dropped one set, guys, in the tournament, Novak Djokovic. So Novak Djokovic in a potential final between Djokovic and Rafa Nadal, guys, to be quite honest, I'm confused. I don't know who will win that match. I don't know, guys, to be quite honest. I've said Rafa Nadal is the man, is the player to beat. I've said Rafa Nadal is the overwhelming favorite. But Djokovic can beat him. He really can do that, and he knows, and Rafa knows it, and Djokovic knows it, and we all know, and we fans knows that as well. And Djokovic really believes in his power, in his skills, in his game, in his abilities, that he can defeat Rafa Nadal. Rafa Nadal has never lost a French Open final in 11 French Open finals. But even Rafa Nadal is a human being, guys, and even him can lose a French Open final. And if it is somebody who really can give Rafa Nadal his first ever French Open final loss, it is definitely his biggest opponent, his biggest threat in his career. And that player is, of course, Novak Djokovic, who has defeated Rafa Nadal 28 times. Most times of all players in history. Who has defeated Rafa Nadal 7 times on clay. Most of all players on clay. Who has defeated Rafa Nadal in all Grand Slam events. The only player who has done that. So, I am 100% sure that Rafa Nadal doesn't want Novak Djokovic in that French Open final. I am 100% sure, not 99, 100. He wants Dominic Thiem instead. Because he knows that he can beat Dominic Thiem. He knows that he's 65-70% sure that he will beat Dominic Thiem. But against Djokovic, he isn't 70% sure. Against Djokovic, I think Rafa Nadal, he feels 50-50%. Anyway, the reason why I don't believe why Roger Federer doesn't have any great chance of defeating Rafa Nadal in a potential semi-final meeting on Friday is because Roger Federer doesn't hit the ball as hard as Robin Söderling. Roger Federer doesn't hit the ball as hard as Dominic Thiem. Roger Federer cannot challenge Rafa Nadal from the baseline. He cannot, like Djokovic can do, and like Thiem can do to some extent as well. At least he has done that in the 3 sets matches. He has defeated him 4 times. More times than what Roger has. Roger has only defeated Rafa Nadal on clay 2 times, guys. In 15 meetings. It is 13-2 to Roger Federer, to Rafa Nadal on clay. 13-2. In French Open 5-0. So that's why Roger Federer is caught in the middle when he plays Rafa Nadal on clay. He is caught in the middle. He feels helpless. His game doesn't get rewarded against Rafa Nadal. His game doesn't threat Rafa Nadal on clay, especially not in 5 sets. That's why I am pretty confident that Roger Federer will not beat Rafa Nadal on Friday, if Roger gets there, which I believe he will, but I'm not sure. But Rafa will be there, of course. I am pretty confident. It is the matchup, guys. The matchup is a horrible matchup for Roger Federer. Yeah, I know some of you maybe think, but Roger has 5 straight wins against Rafa Nadal. Yeah, but none of those 5 straight wins has been on clay, guys. And only one of those 5 straight wins has been in a 5-set match. That was the Australian Open final in 2017. And we all know that Roger won that match barely. Barely he won that match, guys. So you just do your math yourself. Do your logic yourself. If Roger did defeat Rafa Nadal 2 years ago in that Australian Open final 2017, barely, how would the match between these two giants end in a clay court match in 5 sets? I am doing my math myself. I am doing my analysis myself. I can't see how Roger will defeat Rafa Nadal in a 5-set match on clay. I just can't see. He doesn't have his game style doesn't suit him to do that. Novak's game style suit him. Söderling's game style suited him 10 years ago, and even Thiem's game style suits Rafa Nadal, works better against Rafa Nadal than what Rogers does, because Thiem hits the ball harder than Rafa Nadal, than Roger Federer. And some of you maybe say, but Stan Wawrinka hits the ball pretty hard. Yeah, he does, but where is the consistency? He does a lot of unforced errors. It doesn't work like that. It is not just hitting the ball hard. You have to have consistency as well. You have to keep the unforced errors low. Because Rafa Nadal will always squeeze a lot of unforced errors from you, especially on clay. Because you are forced to hit the ball 3, 4, 5 times more. Because he defends so amazingly good. So that's why, guys, that is my analysis why Roger Federer doesn't have a great chances of defeating Rafa Nadal in the potential semifinal. The player, because you have to hit the ball hard, you have to hit the ball brutally hard, both on forehand and the backhand, and you have to have a huge serve like Isner or Karlovic, and Federer doesn't have that. And you have, the other way is to challenge Rafa Nadal from the baseline, give Rafa Nadal his own medicine, and Federer cannot do that. Djokovic can do that, and Thiem can do that as well to some extent. All right, guys, this was it for today about this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I want to say one last thing that it has been on my mind to say it, but I forgot. I want to say a big thank you to a big subscriber of mine, Gold Wolf, who always watches my videos, who always supports me. He has given me a big gift. He knows that, what he has given me, and I want to say big thank you to him. That is the first ever gift that somebody who I don't know and who is not my family who has given me. And I want to say big thank you to you, my friend. I wanted to say this before, but I forgot. But now I am not forgetting. I will never forget it. Thank you very much. All right, guys, take care and see you next time.